Way back in January of this year, I did an upload about narcissism. Many aspects, but one of my main focuses is what happens to an aging female narcissist. So I'm going to re-upload within this video, that video, because I think it might be appropriate today. Who knows? Someone gets some benefit from it, that's great. So I hope it makes sense to you all, and I hope it resonates with some and maybe makes them realise they're not going mad when they think they don't know the answers to everything, they don't know what's going on, or they don't understand why someone's behaving in a way that just seems completely, as we say, off the wall. The thing about narcissists is, if you catch them in a lie, they'll cover that lie with another one. If you confront their behaviour, they'll lie to deflect negative attention. When they're setting you up for a fall, they'll lie to anyone who'll listen, derailing your crazy behaviour. Lies are their baseline, normal, and no relationship can thrive under those circumstances. And on a slightly lighter note, a question for you all. How many narcissists does it take to screw in a light bulb? None. Because they don't use light bulbs, they use gaslighting. So I hope you get some benefit, as I say, from the attached video or re-upload of the video. And thank you for listening. Take care. As my name might suggest, I like to try and think before I speak where possible. It's not always easy to contain anger at the hurt that is being inflicted on others. And there is an awful lot of hurt and damage being inflicted on others from the pleasure of unscrupulous people. Many people obviously know about narcissistic sociopaths, etc., or all the facets of these narcissisms. So I will admit to feeling extremely hacked off with one in particular who is causing harm, great harm. There is, however, I'm noticeably seeing, after many years, a coming together of people feeling brave enough, strong enough to speak out. And some people might say, why do you have to feel strong enough to come out? Well, that is because that creator goes real life, hurts, makes up lies, and likes to see the destruction and pain of people, in my opinion. And I know many of you will have seen lots of things about these aspects of narcissism or narcissistic sociopathy, etc. But I just thought I'd put my 2 pence in, if anyone might be interested. Before starting, I would just like to say, anything that I talk about within my video are my opinions only and done under fair use. Thank you. Many experts disagree on whether there are meaningful differences between sociopathy and psychopathy. Common traits between sociopathy and psychopathy include a disregard for laws and a failure to feel remorse. One of the differences is that sociopaths may form attachments to people or groups, while psychopaths are often unable to form attachments. Many experts disagree on whether there are meaningful differences between sociopathy and psychopathy. Common traits between sociopathy and psychopathy include a disregard for laws and a failure to feel remorse. One of the differences is that sociopaths may form attachments to people or groups, while psychopaths are often unable to form attachments. Despite scientific advancements in this area, many professionals, including forensic psychologists, psychiatrists, and criminologists, still use the term sociopathy and psychopathy interchangeably. Leading experts disagree on whether there are meaningful differences between the two conditions. And on studying this, on psychology papers, it's clear that there are, for some, significant distinctions between them. The disorders share, as I say, many common behavioural traits, which leads to confusion between them. But the key traits sociopaths and psychopaths have in common include a disregard for laws and social mores, a disregard for the rights of others, a failure to feel remorse or guilt, a tendency to display violent behaviour. In addition to their commonalities, sociopaths and psychopaths also have their own unique behavioural characteristics as well. I'll repeat that. In addition to their commonalities, sociopaths and psychopaths also have their own unique behavioural characteristics as well. Sociopaths tend to be nervous and easily agitated. They are volatile and prone to emotional outbursts, including fits of rage. They are likely to be uneducated and live on the fringes of society, unable to hold down a steady job or stay in one place for long. It is difficult but not impossible for sociopaths to form attachments with others. Many sociopaths are able to form an attachment to a particular individual or group, although they have no regard for society in general or its rules. In the eyes of others, sociopaths will appear to be very disturbed. Any crimes committed by a sociopath, including murder, will tend to be haphazard, disorganised, and spontaneous, rather than planned. Psychopaths, on the other hand, are unable to form emotional attachments or feel real empathy with others, although they often have disarming or even charming personalities. Psychopaths are extremely manipulative and can easily gain people's trust. They learn to mimic emotions despite their inability to actually feel them, and will appear normal to unsuspecting people. Psychopaths are often well educated and hold steady jobs. Some are so good at manipulation and mimicry that they have families and other long-term relationships without those around them ever suspecting their true nature. When committing crimes, psychopaths carefully plan out every detail in advance and often have contingency plans in place. Unlike their sociopathic counterparts, psychopathic criminals are cool, calm, and meticulous. Their crimes, whether violent or non-violent, will be highly organised and generally offer few clues for their authorities to pursue. Intelligent psychopaths make excellent white-collar criminals and, quotes, con artists, quotes, due to their calm and charismatic natures. The cause of psychopathy is different than the cause of sociopathy. It is believed that psychopathy is largely the result of, quotes, nature, quotes, brackets, genetics, while sociopathy is more likely the result of, quotes, nurture, quotes, environment. Psychopathy is related to a physiological defect that results in the underdevelopment of the part of the brain responsible for impulse control and emotion. Sociopathy, on the other hand, is more likely the product of childhood trauma and physical emotional abuse. Because sociopathy appears to be learned rather than innate, so sociopaths are capable of empathy in certain limited circumstances, but not in others, and with a few individuals, but not others. Psychopathy is the most dangerous of all antisocial personality disorders because of the way psychopaths disassociate emotionally from their actions, regardless of how terrible those actions may be. Many prolific and notorious serial killers, including the late infamous Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, and the incarcerated Dennis Rader, or BTK, are unremorseful psychopaths. Psychopathic killers view their innocent victims as inhuman objects to be tormented and exterminated for their amusement or even sexual gratification. Contrary to popular mythology, most serial killers are not mentally ill in either a clinical or legal sense, nor are they, quotes, evil geniuses, quotes. At least 40% of all serial killers are unrepentant psychopaths. So that, clearly, as I wander through my thoughts and talk out loud to you all, is really just the views of experts and an outline of these issues and behaviours as a starter. Because one of the things that I have been thinking about, and I want to stress highly, that these thoughts that I'm voicing are through research and careful thought, but they are my own opinions and conclusions. And I know many of you will have made your own, and we will probably be all in the same place, or we may not. But these are just my thoughts on watching somebody as they mature and seeing the increase in uncontrollable rage, behaviours, disregard for others, etc. So I thought I might just put a few thoughts out there on what happens to an ageing female narcissist. One of the things one can tell or learn and study is that a female narcissist's greatest enemy is the clock. Where she may have been coy, petulant and adorable as a younger woman, it starts to wear a little thin as she goes into her 50s and beyond. She's running out of excuses to stay a child. Or is she? The traditional approach often is to marry money. They want to be taken care of. Marrying money to them is like winning the lottery. You don't have to do anything after that. Now, I often wonder, well, why would you want to spend the rest of your life doing nothing? It's not something that's ever crossed my mind. It's not the life I've led. But I'm not talking about myself. Another favourite of the ageing female narcissist is turning back the clock. Is turning back the clock. It's astonishing what a competent plastic surgeon, personal trainer, dietitian, and publicist can do for the chronically impaired. I mean, roll back the clock 20 years. Reinventing yourself is hard work, but it buys time. Time is an asset that can be parlayed into a wider assortment of men or relationships or people that she can hang on to. And then there's the kids. She raised them. She gave up everything for them, and now it's payback time. She wants her own place, decorated to her taste, with all services and deliveries provided at no charge. Nothing is ever good enough. She will keep upping the ante. She doesn't really need an electric garage door opener delivered and installed only by, say, her son-in-law, and only on a Sunday afternoon, if she's up to it. She just wants more. Another aspect for the ageing female narcissist is the mysterious illness. The mysterious illness are the default drive of many a narcissistic female, is the undiscovered illness that totally incapacitates them. Now, a lot of good women develop incapacitating conditions that they manage well. But in this case, however, a broken bone becomes a lifelong incapacity. Or they're back to the doctor every week insisting that he or she missed something. It's got to be insert horrible disease here. And the doctor has missed it for years, and now they're boring people to tears with lengthy descriptions of their ailments and how they've been rendered useless by medical incompetence. In effect, they become the illness. Again, we all have our moments, don't we? But we all know that talking can be futile to a point, and you know you're feeling like crap. And of course there's mother's little helper. All these pills came from the doctor. They're medically prescribed. She needs them for pain, depression, boredom. The doctor never mentioned that they don't combine with booze. So who knew? She only drinks after 5 p.m. It's the doctor's fault. In effect, given free rein, a female narcissist will most likely regress as they age until they are reduced to a state of infancy. Every need is attended to by someone else. They choke the offices of litigation lawyers, plastic surgeons, doctors, particularly specialists, and emergency wards. The household revolves around them. They have delivery services on speed dial. They're always railing about the incompetence of someone, simple courtesies and gestures of somebody else. Racist and homophobic comments were accidental, of course, and they're everywhere. We all know one. Now, self-preservation is a wonderful thing. Instinctively, we try to set up some distance between them to hold on to what's left of our sanity, not to mention our jobs. And then we use guilt, quotes, "Look at what you've done to me." Shaming, "Your sister is much nicer than you." Aggression, "I'm cutting you out of the will." And vindictiveness, "You're fired," to get even. The all-time 5-star winner is the suicide attempt. Gets them what they want every time. Instinctively, we know this is a no-win situation, and people will go to great lengths to shed themselves of them. Unfortunately, that means the few remaining souls bear the burden. We curse and secretly envy those that walked away, until one day we realise that there is absolutely nothing we can do to help. That sometimes it's even life or death to get away. They will literally eat you alive. Every time we drop whatever we are doing to run errands, clean, get them to emergency, listen to their non-stop acid mouth, we are, as we all know, enabling them. Ultimately, there may be things we're willing to do to help. That may take the form of a Sunday afternoon visit, but no more and no less. And if they don't like that, fair enough. You're tired. Accept that there will be no easy answers dealing with an aging female narcissist. It's a one day at a time situation. But in the same breath, even Mother Teresa took breaks, and so should you. And so, by the time the female narcissist reaches old age, she is a pitiful spectacle. She will more than likely be totally alone, because by now everyone in her life has seen her for what she is. Family and friends have disappeared, and she no longer has her looks to lure people into her web. Of course, in her mind, she's still hot stuff, and she will use social media to live out her fantasy life. She will put outdated and airbrushed pics of herself on her pages, which make her look 20, 30 years younger than her true age. Her social media quotes, flying monkeys quotes, must tell her how pretty and gorgeous and wonderful she is. Those flying monkeys who fail to constantly feed her monstrous ego will be unceremoniously dropped. In old age, the female narc has lost her tenuous grip on what once passed for sanity. She is bitter and twisted in the extreme. And she is filled with rage at the entire planet, believing it is everyone else's fault that she did not acquire this fantastic life she's deserved. She will conveniently forget all the lives she's ruined along the way, and as always, with a female narcissist, she is the supreme victim. In fact, victimhood is probably the greatest role of her life. The female narc is on a merry-go-round of never-ending self-pity. If the aging female narcissist still has children who bother with her, she still does the same thing that she has always done. She plays them off against each other. Now that she's old, perhaps the child who once held the status of golden child is now the scapegoat, and the one that used to be the scapegoat is now the golden child. She will still see her daughters as rivals, and she will still see her son as substitute husbands who must provide her with all the attention and love that she feels is her due. Naturally, the wives of her sons will never be good enough, and she will flirt with her daughters' husbands and cause trouble in their marriage. Woe betide if she thinks that any of her children are actually happy with their lives, and she will plot and scheme to destroy all of like that, just like she always has. So, to conclude, what I'm trying to say, and it's easy to say, I know, and many of us have either been brought up by narcissists, live with narcissists, etc. And we know how much hurt it can cause and how much damage it does to our lives and how hard it is to walk away. But when it is somebody on social media, behind a screen, obviously we can't ignore any potentially criminal activities, if there are any, allegedly, or appalling behaviours. But what we can do is not engage with them in conversations on social media. We need to walk away. And as we all say often, don't feed them. We need to ghost them. And as we all say too, there is the law of karma. And there is a quote that says, when a bird is alive, it eats ants. When the bird has died, the ants eat it. One tree can be made into 1,000,000 matches, but only one match is needed to burn 1,000,000 trees. Circumstances can change at any time. Don't devalue or hurt anyone. You may be powerful today, but time is more powerful than you. So take care, everybody. Look after yourselves. And again, I would like to stress that my video are my opinions, my research, and my thoughts only. They're not directed at anyone specific, but I think we all know people with these issues. So take care, as I say. Much love, Carrie Pink.